podcast with Orah and David.
Yes, and David and Orah.
We're
yes.
so excited to be back. Can't wait to talk to you guys
Oh,
today.
man, this is going to be a great one.
It is. You know, sometimes you just have a feeling, and today's one of those feelings.
I'm feeling you. I got that. I love it. I love it. What are we going to be talking about, Orah?
We are going to be talking about a lot of really great stuff.
Yes.
But before I talk about anything specific, there's a question popping in my mind that I really just want to ask you, and I mean, we might as well.
Okay, well, let's just dive right in.
I just want to know, what's your most used emoji? I was just thinking about it. I just want to know.
All right, let me tell you this. I love emojis.
You're an emoji guy.
I love emojis.
Wow, okay.
And I have noticed that people that are younger than me don't use emojis that much. And
yeah.
Is that true?
I think so, yes.
Do you not use emojis?
I use one.
One?
And like very often, but then that's about it.
Well, my kids roll their eyes at me because I love emojis. And my most used emoji is the high fives. The two high fives. Oh, I'll like do 3 or 4 of them.
Okay, the 2 high fives, I do like a pray. Like it's like, hey, holler. Like that's what I think it is. You think it's 2 high fives?
I think it's high fives.
Really? I don't think it's high fives.
I don't know what they are.
I don't think it's high fives.
I don't look them up. You don't think
I think it's like, all right, like that. Like kind of vibes.
All
like,
this time I didn't know that.
But
Are
is it
you
high
serious?
fives, Jen?
No, the high five is the one that looks like pray.
Yes, okay.
No, that is pray.
No, it's
let me tell you, as a pastor, it's prayer. I always use that.
It's pray to me too, but
it's pray to you.
Say that it is.
Oh, that's a high five.
It's not. The fact checker is telling us. Our producer is saying that it is.
Okay, if I was gonna guess, I would have thought your most used emoji was the sunglasses smiley face.
I've never used that one.
Really?
Seriously, I don't think I've ever used that one. Now, I'll use the prayer and then the dove, the Holy Spirit emoji when I'm doing that. Oh, yeah. I'll pray. Because I'm a pastor, I'm telling people I want the Holy Spirit to be with them.
I've never used that.
You've never used that?
I didn't even know it existed.
Oh, it's awesome. It's a great one.
Okay, I'm going to use it when I
So I use the high five and I use the smiley face. And then I'll tell you this. I love the kissy emoji.
Really?
Okay, but I'll use that only with my wife and my boys. I'll do it with my boys.
Okay.
I kiss my boys. But I've twice, on 2 occasions, I've sent a kissy emoji.
Accidentally?
Accidentally to somebody else. No joke.
Oh my goodness.
And I was so mortified. I got my phone out and I was like, stop. And then I sent him an emoji, or I sent him a message. I said, I'm so sorry. That's
that was
not
an
what
accident.
I meant.
I meant to
send you the happy emoji, not the kissy emoji.
I meant to send you the dove.
But it's my most frequently used emoji.
The double high fives.
It's just the most frequently used emoji. Then that's the one that it gets.
That's the one you use.
So I'm embarrassing. Yeah. So what about you?
I use the face melting emoji. You know that one?
Melting?
That's the one I use a lot. Where it's kind of like it's like on its side and it's like melting.
I've never used that one.
Oh, I use it all the time.
Why
That's
do you
my
use
favorite.
that?
Because I just feel like it describes everything. Like you can react to people where they're like, "Oh my goodness, this happened today," and you just face melting emoji.
Okay.
You know?
I don't think you've ever used that face melting one with me. I've never seen that.
You need to share more of your woes.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. What do you send Phil? Do you send like a heart emoji or do you send a kissy emoji?
0 times.
What?
No, I do send XOXO.
Do you also use LOL?
0% of the time.
Okay.
No,
wow.
No, I don't.
So
I just ha ha ha.
Or I think you need to be more expressive. It's gonna bring more joy in your life when you use the heart. I use the heart emoji with my wife all the time. Heart.
Wow.
Or kiss. I love you, babe.
That's wow. No, I don't.
You need to start doing that.
0% of the time.
Phil will feel loved.
Phil will be like, "Who took your phone? What is happening?"
I love emojis.
Wow, that just brought me joy. Just talking about that brought me joy, David.
Made me smile. You make me smile too.
Thanks, David. So sweet.
Okay.
Guess what we're talking
What
about
are we
today?
talking about today?
We're talking about happiness, joy, kindness,
laughter,
all of our favorite things.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. I love it.
I know. It's a real upper today, you guys.
I can't wait to talk about this.
I know. Okay, so first question, David, is what's a moment that you can think of where somebody was like so kind to you?
So kind. Okay. All right. I don't know if I've ever shared this story.
Wow.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
I don't know if I've shared this from the pulpit either.
Oh my goodness.
I've shared this in our staff. Okay, so here's, I was 19 years old.
Okay.
I was on staff here at church. No. Yeah. 19 years old.
Okay.
I was part-time staff. I was not full-time staff. 19 years old. I was, it was my first official outing
Okay.
as a youth leader at the church.
Oh, okay.
By myself.
First one, solo. Okay.
Solo.
Okay.
We had a 15-passenger van back in the day.
Classic.
We met here at the church.
Okay.
At 6:30, right? To go mini golfing. Because that's what you do.
That's
you go
fun.
mini golf. I love that, right?
Yeah.
So we had all these teenagers. There was exactly 15 of us.
Okay.
There were 14 teenagers and myself, and I guess 15 teenagers because
You're a teenager.
I was still a teenager. Yeah. And we all pile in the van.
Okay.
And we head on out to the mini golf place. And we're having a great time. And all of a sudden, I look at my watch and I realize, oh my gosh, we've got to leave right now.
Oh, okay.
Because I was having so much fun. And
You
the kids were having
lost track
so
of
much. I lost track of time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's get in the van, let's go, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. So we all pile in the van. And I said, okay, because you know what every good youth leader does when they pile in the van?
Count off everybody there.
Yes! Oh my gosh, Orah! She knows Christian youth culture. You say count off, start in the back. So 1, 2, and then you know all the kids say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15. All right, let's go. So we head back to the church.
Can I say I'm getting nervous?
Oh, you should be. We get back to the church, and the parents start arriving,
Oh, boy.
and all the kids are leaving, and I have this big Cadillac start driving up to the church, and I
Okay.
look around, and all the kids are gone.
Okay.
The dad gets out of the car.
You're missing a child.
And he says, "Where's my son?" And I'm like, looking around, and I'm like, "Oh,
Great question.
and then it dawns on me, I think
You left one.
I left him behind, and I said, I was so embarrassed. I said, I think I left him.
You said it to him?
I did.
You didn't even stall.
No, I just blurted it out, and he looked at me like I had lost my mind. So he gets back in his very expensive car and peels out of the parking lot, like literally peels out. I will never forget that moment in my life.
Oh my goodness.
So I look around, everyone's gone, it's dark, and I'm just like, well, nothing else for me to do. So
Couldn't you see if he's okay?
I went home. This is before cell phones.
Okay.
This was in the late 80s, early 90s. And so I just went home, and then I got up the next day and went to the office. And my boss was there, and I walked in, and he says, well, how'd the event go?
Oh, boy.
Because he went out with his wife on a date, and that's why I took over. And I
Okay.
said, well, it went great. We had a great time, except I left a kid there at the event, and he said, "What?" And I told him who the kid was, and he was like, "You what? Not him!
Oh, no.
Of all people!" He was like one of the leaders in our church, and I didn't really know kind of who he was, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And did I tell you that the only kid that I left at the event
Okay.
was the only African American kid
No.
on the van?
No.
He was the only one.
Oh my gosh.
So,
That makes it so much worse.
So bad. So he was like, listen, right now, we're getting the phone and we're calling him and you're going to apologize. Have you talked to him? I said, no. I mean, I'm
guy, this
19-year-old.
19-year-old. Oh my
And
gosh.
so I'm freaking out. And so he dials the phone and he says, this is the youth pastor at Full Faith Church of Love, because, you know, we're Full
Classic.
Faith Church of Love.
Yeah.
And he said, David wants to say something to you. And he hands me the phone.
Oh my
Rightfully
gosh.
so. He should have done that. And I said, Mr. So-and-so, I said, I am so sorry. And then he said, what you did is just like unforgivable.
Wow.
Something along those lines.
Oh boy.
And then I said, I am so sorry. And then he said, and then this is what I'll never forget. He said, I just want you to know that I forgive you and I love you. And I'm sure part of it was my son's fault too, because he has a habit of just kind of wandering away. And so in that
Wow.
moment, he literally could have taken me to the cleaner, so to speak.
Oh, totally.
I mean, I could have been fired, and
For sure.
legitimately so.
He could
for
have been like, my
leading a
kid's not
kid.
coming back until he's out of here.
100%. And he had the
Yeah.
influence and the clout to do that.
Yeah.
But he extended kindness and forgiveness and absolutely forgave me
Wow.
and loved me.
Love that.
And totally. And I will never forget that kindness. in
Look
my
how
life.
memorable that is.
So much. And then I became the pastor of the church.
Okay.
Okay. This was like 15 years ago or whatever.
Okay.
And I was out of town, but he and his son both showed up at the church office. And they shared that with some of the staff that was there. So
I
funny.
bet the
So
staff
funny. So
loved that story.
they had great memories of it too. Anyway, so funny. So kindness.
I love
it
that.
brought joy into my heart. I could have been fired, but no, they were
Yes,
loving
you had
me,
so much happiness and joy.
so much happiness.
Love that.
Oh my gosh. So I remember that very fondly.
Oh man. Well,
Okay.
we've been talking about a lot, like just with each other.
Yeah.
Just the movement of happiness
Yes.
and joy in
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah.
Just there's books upon books.
100%. And you are a book reader. Or
I love a book.
I mean, you've got a Bookstagram account.
Yes.
Right?
I love a book. Yes, I have a Bookstagram account. Love a book.
Tell me what books you have that have,
Yes.
helped you towards this.
Okay, there's a book called The Happiness Project by
Okay.
Gretchen Rubin. Read that.
Okay.
She also has a podcast
Oh,
that
okay.
I've listened to.
All right.
And then my number one
Your number
gratitude
one.
book
Okay.
is The Gratitude Diaries.
The Gratitude Diaries by Janice Kaplan.
Yes, I recommend this book to so many. I buy it whenever I find it at a
Really?
thrift store, and I just give it to people. I think it's a life-changing book. Gratitude
Okay.
Diaries. Where
so,
am I? There we go. Whoop,
so here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, right there. We'll
Thank
put it
you.
right
There you
there.
go.
There we go. I don't know if they can see that out there. If you're listening, it's Gratitude Diaries by Janice Kaplan. Okay, Orah, so you've even got it tabbed here. I don't know
do.
if this
I
is
have
this for
tabs,
the
I have
podcast
highlights.
or is
Well,
this
that's
just
for the
normal?
podcast, yes, but I do
well,
highlight already.
Start with the
Yes.
section, or do
Okay.
you have something else
well,
you want to go?
I
Okay,
wanted
keep
to.
going.
I have a few quotes about joy.
Great, let's
that
hear
I
it.
absolutely love.
Okay.
This is Ann Robertson. She says, "They say the opposite of joy isn't sadness; it's fear."
Ooh, yes.
So good.
I think that's
So
true.
good.
Absolutely. Say that one more time. That's good.
They say the opposite of joy isn't sadness; it's fear.
Yeah.
So
okay.
good.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, Brene Brown.
Yeah, Brene Brown. Anybody know Brene? Yeah, Brene Brown. Wow.
Book number 2.
Oh, number
Brene
2.
Brown.
Okay.
The Gifts of Imperfection.
She blew up maybe 10 years ago
Yeah,
or
I think
something like
so.
that? Yeah, she had a
TED Talk.
A TED Talk that
So good.
went viral. If you've not listened to that TED Talk, you
It's
should.
so good.
We should put a link in the
Yes,
description or
and
something.
she also
if you
has
can
a
remember
special that she did maybe 5 years ago on Netflix that was also really
Oh,
solid
I didn't
and really
know that.
good. Yeah, it was
okay.
so good.
All right. So yeah, we'll try to put a link in the
Brene
description.
Brown.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so this is one of her quotes. She
Okay.
says, "Happiness is tied to circumstance, and
Yes.
joyfulness is tied to spirit and gratitude."
Yes, I believe that 1,000%.
Yes.
Say that again because man,
It's so good.
We have to reframe.
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
Happiness is tied to circumstance.
Okay, so the things that are going on around you.
Yeah,
if
that's
I get
happiness.
a raise, if my kids are happy and
Yes.
joyful, then I'm happy because of everything going on.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Joyfulness is tied to spirit and
Okay.
gratitude.
Wow. Okay, that's good.
So good.
So spirit, like, is she talking about in a religious sense? Do you think, or is she trying to leave that open for people?
She's leaving that open, but I do think it's also like a spirit of like,
Ding, ding. Sorry, you heard that. Sorry.
That's joy coming from you. That it's like a gumption. It's
Okay.
it's a spirit of joy and of gratitude. I think.
Okay,
Also,
that's
I
kind
don't
of
know.
where she's looking. Okay.
And then the last quote that I love is Adela Rogers St. John, and
Whoa,
she's
I've never heard of her.
I know.
I've heard of the other two, but I don't know who that is.
I know.
Adela Roberts St. John.
Yes.
What a name.
I know. What a name. Also,
Okay.
Adela. What?
Okay.
Somebody named their child that. That's so good. It's a good
Wow.
name. Okay.
Okay.
Joy seems to me a step beyond happiness. Happiness is a sort of atmosphere you can live in sometimes when you're lucky. Joy is a light that fills you with hope, faith, and love.
Okay, that was a mouthful, and
I
you
know.
lost me. So
Oh, goodness
take
gracious.
that. Let's take that like one phrase at a time.
Okay.
Okay. Say it again.
Joy to me is a step beyond happiness. Happiness
Joy
and joy
is
are not
beyond
the same
happiness.
thing.
Joy and happiness not the same, which
Yes.
is what Brene Brown says.
Yes,
Okay,
uh-huh.
got that. And I think most people would understand that.
Yeah.
Joy and happiness are not synonyms. Okay.
Happiness.
Or not the same.
Yes.
They're synonyms.
Happiness is a sort of atmosphere you can live in sometimes when you're lucky. That's happiness.
When you're lucky, happiness just happens.
Yes.
The happiness happens.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Joy is a light that fills you with
Yeah.
hope and faith and love.
Yeah. Okay.
It's different. It's
That's good.
inside.
That's
It's
good.
different. Yeah.
From a Christian perspective, we would say that the Spirit actually kind of brings joy.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay.
So, okay,
I love those three quotes.
I love
those are amazing
They're
quotes.
so
I love
good.
it. Okay. Again, they're distinguishing between happiness and joy. That there is some difference between happiness and joy.
Yes.
Okay.
And while there's books on happiness,
Yeah.
I think the goal of the Happiness Project to be happy, it's actually trying to bring you joy. They start out with like, how can I be happier? Why am I not happy?
Interesting.
And then
Okay.
I think it's really bringing you to the point of being like, it's not about happiness. You're actually trying to feel the emotion of joy, which are two different
That's
emotions.
so good. So we're going to start with happiness because it's something tangible. Mm-hmm. And then you begin to work in that for a while and you get rooted into something and then it bears the fruit of joy.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too.
Okay.
So
So tell me about the Happiness Project, unless you wanted to go somewhere else first.
No, that's fine. The Happiness Project, that's a Gretchen Rubin one. She's written a few books, and they're all really good. Her podcast is really enjoyable. It's kind of like things about that you can't, regular things you can implement to bring you happiness or joy.
Okay.
One of her first ones is like living in smell. What is it? Embracing smell. She does like little practical things.
Wow. Okay. I've never heard this before.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, great.
No, this
Okay,
is brand new.
great. Okay.
So there's something to do with smell and
Yes.
happiness?
Yeah.
Hold
Okay.
it. Break that down for me
Yes.
because
Okay.
this is new info for
Yes.
me. Okay.
Okay, think about the feeling of going outside after
Okay.
the rain. There's a rainbow in the sky.
Yeah,
You go outside,
I can smell it
you can
already.
smell it.
I 100%
and
can.
it's triggering
Okay.
a
Yes.
joyful or a happy memory.
Interesting.
So that's
Okay.
really cool because smells can
Those are they are powerful.
give you a memory.
You know what's so crazy? When this happened the other day. I was mowing the grass,
Mm-hmm.
and I got triggered all of a sudden about something that had happened when I was just out of high school.
Wow.
A really happy memory of me mowing the grass for this guy who, whatever, it doesn't matter. But anyways, it was a really happy memory.
I love that.
The grass thing.
It was the smell.
It was the smell of the grass.
So the crazy thing about smell
Crazy.
is it can tie
Okay.
you to memories, it can
Yep.
bring you somewhere else, but also it can tie you to the present because if you smell the same smell for 10 minutes, you're going to stop smelling it. You know what I mean? You smell coffee, you smell coffee, you smell coffee. 10 minutes later, it's not going to smell like anything.
Interesting.
So
okay.
it does, like if you light a candle, you create a mood, a
Okay.
vibe in your house, it can help pull you out of your head
Yes.
and bring you to the present.
For 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, for a little while. Just a
It's
good
kind of like happiness.
Yes.
It will only last a certain
A
period
little
of
while,
time,
yeah.
but joy is a little bit
It's
more,
true.
right? Okay.
It's kind
it
of
takes
a trick if you're feeling maybe
Okay.
anxious
Interesting.
or whatever, just to light a candle, smell something that might make you
Light a
happy.
candle, everything's
just
all
to
right.
try to bring you to the present, which I like.
You
That's
didn't catch that joke, did you?
no. Was it a
do you
Bob
know-
Marley
Yeah,
joke? Got
light a
it.
candle,
Got it.
everything
Got it.
will.
That was pretty good. So, anyways, that's the Happiness Project. That's that vibe.
I don't think I've ever kind of put the thought of like why people like. I'm not a big candle person.
You're not. I can
No,
see that.
right? And so I didn't like. Why do people light a candle? Okay, because the smell it triggers something and it makes them
Yeah,
feel
it
better.
can give them a vibe of like coziness, of comfort, and kind of bring them out of
Yeah.
turmoil or,
You know what my mom used to do when I was young? She used to have this like Pledge Lysol type stuff that she would just spray into the air all over the Febreze, but it
Classic.
wasn't
Pine Sol.
Pine Sol,
Yeah.
whatever it was. That was her candle of the day.
classic. Now it's essential oils.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. No more
So-
spray. We're not killing the atmosphere
No,
anymore.
we're
Okay,
not.
all
We're
right.
not. Okay, so that's a Happiness Project, but I wanted to
No,
talk...
but okay. I'm sorry. I got to
Yes.
go back to the Happiness Project.
Yes.
Is it a project? I don't know what that means.
That's
Is it
her-
like you got a whole bunch of people that are involved in this
No,
project?
well, the author goes on a project of happiness, similar to the Gratitude Diaries. This one, the
okay.
author, for a year, she tries different things.
Okay, I got it.
And it's the same for the
Okay,
Happiness
so she's
Project.
encouraging people through this book to go
Yes.
through 365 days of whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay, I
this
got it.
lady, she tries all these different things like can we link to like an old sermon that David did about gratitude?
Yeah.
Okay, David did a sermon
I
about.
did.
Shout out to David. The
Is it
two high
this?
fives.
Okay. If you're listening, we're doing the high five
yeah,
emoji.
high five
Sorry.
He did one about gratitude, and he
did.
talked about like writing a letter
Yep,
to
I
somebody
did.
and sending it, actually
Yes.
giving it to him, of like being like, hey, you made a difference in my
Right,
life. She talks about that in this book too.
Oh,
she
she does.
uses a
Okay,
lot of
yeah,
things
yeah.
like that. And one that I've taken that you talked about and she talks about is a gratitude diary,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Gratitude Diaries, where
So,
every day
Every day, yeah. Okay,
you
this is
write
good.
3 things that you liked about your day, that was
Okay.
good. And
Did you do this?
I do it. Yeah, I've done it for years now.
Oh, you've done it for years
Yeah.
now. You continue to do it.
Since you did that sermon,
Which
I
was
read this
several years ago.
Several years ago, I read
Okay.
this book maybe a week or two after that.
Wow.
And I've been doing it ever since.
Has it made a difference, do you think?
Huge.
Huge.
Huge difference.
Wow, this is great.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay.
Okay, because I don't have amazing mental health. I have had a lot of mental health journeys.
Okay.
And so I try a lot to live in the joy, to feel the joy, to live in the joy. And when I've been in bad bouts, it's really interesting because nothing is sparking joy. Nothing feels exciting.
Interesting.
So it's those points more than ever, it's so exciting to look back and see your gratitudes and flip back and say like, man, I was so low. I was just, all I could think about was like a coffee, or I'm grateful for coffee. I'm grateful for sheets that weren't dirty. Something that were so not exciting, but it was enough for your day. You know what I mean? Like it's enough to be like, that's okay. There's some good. There's some good there. And then you can look through your gratitude diary and see your mood and just like see like, wow, I've come so far from that,
where I was.
Yes, to like now my gratitudes are totally different. They're bigger. They're better.
Really?
You know.
So crazy.
Yeah,
How
it's cool.
consistent do you think you are?
I think I do it 4 to 5 times a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't, and they talk about in this book, you don't have to do it every day. The payoff doesn't have to be every day. It is at least 3 times a week, and you'll still have the
It's kind of like
payoff.
Exercise. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You got to at least do 3 or 4 days to get the benefits of it. Okay.
Yeah, so that's a big one. 3 times a week, and I do it before bed, but sometimes I'll do it in the morning.
Yeah. Okay.
But for me, it's like when you go to bed and you might just be like, that day sucked. You know, you're not ending on that note of that day sucked. You're ending on like, there was good in the day. There was, and it changes something in you. You start to feel more of the joy. You start to turn your mindset to be like, there were good things today.
Yeah.
You know, instead of feeling like, oh, this day.
Like you said, it makes you turn your head to a different, turn your attention to another focus.
Perspective shift, I feel like.
That's better.
Over
Thank
time, a perspective shift. You might not feel it right away, so don't quit. Like, keep going.
Keep going. It's like working out. It's the same thing. You're not, if you're going to do it for 1 week or 2 weeks, you're not going to notice any difference at all. Probably.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So love
Fascinating.
that.
I love that.
I
okay.
know. I was
so
gonna
write 3 things. So if you're going to take something practical,
Yes, 3
write
things.
3 things before you go to bed or when you wake up.
Yes.
Or at lunch.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
One of the things I loved in this book is she talks about that she's going to try to not complain for a month.
Woo! I
was
love, man.
so
I need
good.
to preach that.
It was so
I need to
good.
were you able to do it?
It's so hard.
Oh, I'm sure it's incredibly difficult.
But then you start to notice how many people around you, all they do is complain. And you start to kind of be like, oh my gosh, they could just complain all the time.
Are you just judgmental at that point?
Kind of, totally.
Dude, we got to put that on the notes for me. I'm going to preach that.
It's so good.
You're going to go on a no complain fast.
Yes, it's interesting
or
because
a complaining fast.
you think all Christians, I'm not all, but Christians are obsessed with gossip. They're like, think it's the worst thing in the world, which it's not great, but they're so obsessed. But what about complaining? Complaining is so different.
Can I get the emoji out? I'm going to do the mind blown emoji right now. So good.
But it really infiltrates you. That's what you start to think about. You think like, this weather sucks, and I'm so tired of this, and I wish my jeans fit, and you know, I'm so annoyed with how they talk to me, and why didn't I do this, and why didn't they do this, and how come the car line was slow? All of these things. You know what I mean?
Wow. Orah, you have a lot going through your head.
No. You know how easy it was to pull those two?
I mean, she pulled those out like they happened this morning or something.
They did. But I feel like naturally humans too, we feel like we bond with complaining. We feel like that's like cultural, you know what I mean?
Interesting, like negativity attracts negativity.
Yes.
And so we're connected. Ooh, that's
so it feels like it like brings connection. Like, oh, I also want to complain about the weather. Now we have something in common. Like that.
Oh, man, I see that happen a lot.
Yes, right?
I do. I really do. Yeah.
So it's really interesting to think like, I'm not going to do that for a month.
Fascinating.
And I'm going to see, first of all, how hard it is.
So you've done it.
I've done it.
And what was the result at the end?
Wow. It makes you realize just how surrounded you are by complaining.
Yeah, okay,
2,
right.
it makes you realize how much you've participated in that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So you're way more aware of what's happening.
You're just like, whoa, I did that all the time.
Okay.
And shifts you towards joy. You start focusing on like, okay, I'm not going to even say that. The power of our words. I'm not even going to say that. I could think that. That's fine. You're not thinking it.
Yeah, okay.
But you're just, that's not coming out of your mouth.
Right, and you're not walking in that anymore. Okay. fascinating.
It's
so
really
good.
cool.
That's good. Man, it's got to be like fasting. Like you do it and it resets your spirit, your mind. You're kind of focused on spiritual things. But then I'm sure, just like your 30 days of no complaining, after a period of time,
it comes back.
It comes back, right?
For sure.
Yeah, okay.
For sure. It'd be a funny thing to do every year. Like how people are like, I'm going to do a cleanse.
Right,
You
once a
should
year.
do a cleanse of complaining.
Instead of our word of the year, we're going to do a no complaining January.
I like it. I like it.
Start the year off like thinking about things that are good and honorable and right and true, right? That Paul tells us to.
Oh my goodness.
It's so good. Okay.
You think of all the Bible verses that are
that.
about, your tongue. I know you were talking about my
Orah.
tongue in my last episode.
These are so good. Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's good. Okay. What else we got?
Okay. So I have some quotes from the Brene Brown, The Gifts of Imperfection. I read this with a group of girls and we all enjoyed it. It was different for all of us, but we all just thought, wow, it was really good. It's not her most famous book, but it is really good.
I've never heard of this book.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay. What do you got? Give us something.
Yes. Okay. Something really interesting about gratitude and joy is some people are afraid to feel it because they think it's going to go away. They're afraid of that.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
it's the people that like self-sabotage themselves too. Like they can't be happy because something is going to be like inevitably something's going to be wrong.
Yes.
Right?
Totally.
The sky's gonna fall in, something's gonna get bad, all that. Yes,
exactly.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So what does she say about that?
She says, well, hold on, sorry, I just lost my spot.
Okay, that's all right. We're gonna do that. So yeah, I know people like this, and I think I tend to have some of this thought myself.
Yeah.
Like because of the way I grew up and those kind of things, it's like, you just, it's like you can't be too happy.
Yes, because you're like, now what? Then it's all gonna be taken from me.
Yes.
And I'm gonna fall to an even lower low.
100%, right?
Yeah, so she says,
terrible way to think.
Addressing scarcity doesn't mean searching for abundance. It's rather choosing a mindset of sufficiency.
Woo!
I know.
Okay, that's a preaching moment right there. Say that one. That's a really good quote. So say that again.
Addressing scarcity doesn't mean searching for abundance.
Okay, stop. Okay. So addressing scarcity, not having enough, doesn't mean that you're just searching to try to get more things.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
But rather choosing a mindset of sufficiency.
Yeah. It's almost like Jesus is saying, don't worry about tomorrow, right? Like, I'm the one that provides.
Yep.
Right?
And you will have enough.
You will have enough. Today's, you've got enough for today.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, I like that.
So good. And then this was one of my favorite quotes in the book. It says, in many instances, we equate ordinary or boring, or even more dangerous, ordinary has become synonymous with meaningless.
Ooh, man, that's another, boy, this girl, who is this girl again? I know, it's Brene Brown, I'm just saying. Say that again, because man, that we are like an addicted culture to always wanting something happening all the time because we see it in the media, the news, socials, whatever.
And how do you get joy when you're doing that?
Right?
You know? How do you feel that?
I can't just do a normal day.
Yes, I would only have joy if I experienced this high.
Right.
You know, that's
so what
not
does
true.
she say about the ordinary?
Says, in many instances, we equate ordinary with boring.
Yeah.
Or even more dangerous, ordinary has become synonymous with meaningless.
Yeah. Wow.
I love that.
And there
quote.
is something about an ordinary day that are way in which we can grow as human beings, as people of God, is like a tree planted by rivers of living water. And how does a tree grow?
Slowly.
Very slowly.
Yeah.
And there's no like massive thing that's sorry, I'm pulling in the spiritual.
No, I like it.
I'm kind
I
of
like
Jesus
it. Do
thing in
it.
here, but I'm just like, there's nothing that's like supernatural that's taking place. There's nothing like from the outward perspective, right? And this is what she's saying.
That's what she's saying.
Like there's nothing, like if you're taking a time lapse of a tree growing, there's nothing special is happening.
Yeah.
It's just slowly day after day after day. And in the ordinary, God does the extraordinary.
Yes.
In the ordinary, God does the supernatural.
Yeah.
So don't be lost in the ordinary.
Yeah, I love that.
Remember, God is doing something supernatural in the ordinary.
Totally.
Oh my gosh, I love this. Makes me want to read this.
I know,
Okay,
it's so
go
good.
ahead.
Okay, another quote
Sorry, I went off
similar
on
to
that.
that, and this
Okay.
will be my last Brene Brown quote. But
Okay.
sometimes we miss out on bursts of joy because we're too busy chasing down extraordinary moments.
That's what I was
I
just
know.
saying. Same thing. Okay, I'm with you, Brene.
She's
You and
with
me
you.
right there. I got you. Okay.
Other times we're so afraid of the dark that we don't dare let ourselves enjoy the light.
Yeah.
So those are like,
Yep, that's
I
good.
just think they're so good
That's
if
right.
you think about living your ordinary life. And I want to say, I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
My life can be very mundane.
Right,
Very, just
right.
another chore,
Yep.
another drop-off, another set
Yep.
of dishes, another
Yep.
set of laundry.
Yep.
So what do you put in your gratitude journal when that's what it is?
Another
You
load
let-
of clean laundry.
Yes, you start to let you
Right.
start to find the joy and let yourself feel the joy in your
Yeah.
ordinary life,
That's
and
good.
it'll transform you.
So good.
It'll be good.
And I would say, even if it's not just like a stay-at-home mom, I mean, I think it could be in any person, a student,
Yeah.
A leader, a fast food worker, or whatever. I mean, we all have ordinary days that are
It's true.
strung together.
Yeah.
And even if you're doing something that's exciting in travel or whatever, that gets mundane.
It
I was a
does.
missions pastor for 18 years and I traveled all over the world. And let me tell you, traveling gets mundane.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, if you do it consistently, it gets
That's so
mundane.
true.
And so, yeah, absolutely. In the ordinary, God does the extraordinary. I love
Yeah.
that. Man, it's so good. Okay.
Okay, I have a few Bible verses.
Okay.
Are you ready to
well,
transition?
Yeah. Well, I'm ready to transition, but before you talk about the Bible verses, I wanted to, on my notes that I had, I wanted to go a little bit deeper.
Please.
Okay, and I wanted to think about the question that I think lots of people ask.
Okay.
And that is, what do you want out of life?
Yeah.
And I think this is actually not Kaplan, but it was, who's the girl that had the
Brene Brown?
Nope. Who was the other one that has the project?
Gretchen Rubin.
Gretchen Rubin.
Yeah.
I think it was Gretchen who, because I was looking at her stuff as well, and she started her happiness project by asking the question, what do I want out of life?
Love that. Mm-hmm.
What do I want out of life? And I think it's a question that everybody kind of asks themselves at some point, if you slow down, what do I really want out of life? And she said, I want to be happy.
Love that.
That was what she wanted.
Yeah.
To which now my pastoral theological mind gets going.
Okay.
Okay, so this is why I wanted to kind of shift this.
Okay.
And I wanted to go, okay, so is that an answer that a Christian could have for their own life?
Oh, that's so interesting.
Okay. Can I say that I want to be happy? And is that a Christian answer, so to speak?
Wow, that's so
Are you
interesting.
understanding what I'm
totally
saying?
understanding.
I want you to think about that for a second because it made me reflect. While
That
you're
is
thinking
interesting.
about that
Yeah, okay.
answer, okay, I did another dive into happiness.
Okay.
Okay, there was a class that happened at Yale. You
Okay.
may be familiar with this.
I've heard of Yale.
The Yale, yeah, you heard of Yale. There was a class called Psych 157. It was called Psychology and the Good Life.
Okay.
It was one of the most popular classes to be offered in the university in its 320-year history.
Love that.
You love that? Mm-hmm. So during the spring semester of 2018, over 1,200 people took this course at the same
Wow.
time.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what ended up happening is that the class became the science of well-being.
Okay.
Okay, how
Science of
can
well-being.
we be happy?
Okay.
That was the class.
Okay.
Okay.
I like it.
And the professor, Dr. Lori Santos, is the one that came up with this.
Okay.
Then 2020 hit. Everybody started sheltering in place.
Yep.
Everybody was struggling with depression, with all of the mental health issues that were
Yes.
going on. She launched this online as
Love
a
it.
result of this class. So now it blew up, and they had over 3.3 million people sign up
Whoa.
in 2020.
Wow. Could we have signed up for this class?
You could have signed
My
up for it. It's
goodness.
a free class, and you can still sign up for it now.
Ooh, I
And
wanna
it's
take it.
free if you want to
I wanna
take
take it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And so this class on Yale became super, super popular. And again, it was the science of like, how can we be happy? What's the well-being? And so then again, it goes back to, and I want to get back to the theological thing because this resonated in Yale with all these university students, and several Christians took the course.
Okay.
And their perspective at the end of it was that it actually enhanced their faith.
Love that.
Okay.
Okay.
So now back to the question.
Okay.
And I'm going to have you answer the question, and then I've got some of my own thoughts on
Okay,
it, okay?
okay.
But so no pressure
I know.
if you answer wrong. But can a Christian say, the goal of my life is to be happy,
Okay.
and give supporting evidence?
Oh my gosh.
And we're back. We're in
Oh my
Yale. We're
gosh.
in Yale. You're in Yale. You're in
Okay.
Yale University class now.
I don't
Okay.
want to say no, a Christian can't say that, but
Okay.
I'm going to say should a Christian say it?
Okay,
And
all
I'm
right.
going to say perhaps not.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know if that should be your goal in life.
Okay.
You know, I like it. I'm not
Okay.
saying it can't be
Okay.
a goal,
Okay.
but should it be your only goal
Okay,
in life?
right.
No.
Okay. Should not be.
But I like,
I mean, you're wrong, but go ahead. Keep
Okay.
going. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
listen, don't you feel like when you read the Bible, and this could be just me, but
Okay.
you read the Bible, you're hearing a lot like, hey, you're going to suffer. Hey, you're
Oh.
going to do this. Hey, like, life's not going to be great. Jesus literally died. It wasn't awesome.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I feel like in that sense, it's like,
Yeah.
well, it's not like his goal was to be happy. Was
Okay.
Jesus' goal to be happy?
Okay.
Then should we have Jesus' goal?
So, spoiler alert.
Okay, let's
We
hear
have
it.
to define what happiness really is.
That's a good idea. Good idea. Good idea.
Okay.
Okay.
Which is why you were going to start talking about scripture
Yeah.
and your verses
Yeah.
on happiness or joy
Joy,
or whatever.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me go to where like this has a major turning point in the 1980s
Okay.
in Christian theology.
Okay.
With a pastor that very many people are familiar with. I'm sure you're familiar with
Joel
yourself.
Osteen.
No.
Dang it.
Man, come on.
Kenneth
I'm
Copeland.
going to give you one more, and it's not Kenneth
Dang
Copeland.
it.
Man, you're so close.
Who was it?
You have any idea? You have no idea. Where there was a shift that took place, and it became quite the conversation.
Creflo Dollar.
No, but man, you're pulling out some really
Thank you.
interesting
I'm trying
pastors.
so hard.
I'm starting to wonder. No, this is actually on the very other end of the spectrum.
Oh,
Pastor
okay.
John Piper.
I was never going to guess that.
No, you were never going to guess
0%
him.
chance.
He came up with a book
Okay.
that he wrote in 1986 entitled Desiring God.
Okay.
And he came up with a term that you may or may not have heard, and I'm sure probably many of those that are listening, you haven't heard of this term, and that's okay. But in the 80s, this was like a new thing. It was a term that he came up with.
Okay.
He's a brilliant theologian. I don't agree with everything that he has to say, but I mean, he's a straight evangelical kind of a guy,
Okay.
and he loves God and all that. But this is what he came up with, and it's fascinating. He came up with a term, Christian hedonism.
Okay.
Wow.
Define that for
Have
me,
you,
please,
have you
Brother
heard of
David.
this before?
No.
No, seriously. Have you heard of this before?
No.
You really haven't?
I mean, I know the term hedonism,
Okay,
and
but
I know
never
Christian, but not together.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Hedonism, in its most general sense, is the idea that pleasure is the primary good in life.
Okay.
You got that?
Yep, got it.
Good is the primary, pleasure is the primary good in life.
Yeah,
pleasure.
got it.
Okay,
Okay.
got it. Okay. This means that we should prioritize activities and experiences that bring us enjoyment and satisfaction.
Okay.
Okay? So, what John Piper has to say is this, that our ultimate satisfaction comes from God, not feeling good about ourselves, but being rooted in God. It focuses on finding joy and fulfillment in God.
Okay.
So, Christian hedonism is, I'm most happy, most fulfilled, and most joy when I find pleasure and joy in God.
And how does one find pleasure and joy?
Oh,
in
well,
God?
we have a whole book on that. That's what Desiring God is all about.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, uh-huh.
And so he goes back and he looks at different theologians throughout the ages, and he has
Okay.
his own thoughts too. And all of this for him kind of came in college, and then as a result of some of the work and studies that he's done.
Okay.
And so he looks at your favorite, like C.S. Lewis theologian.
Yeah.
That's a callback to other podcast episodes where Orah says, every Christian always
They're
kind of
obsessed
quotes
with C.S. Lewis.
C.S. Lewis. Well, because he was a pretty great
I know.
thinker. That's
You'll
why.
notice I never have. I haven't quoted.
I'm going to get you to quote C.S. Lewis. This is what C.S. Lewis had to say. This is just for you, Orah.
Thank you.
That there is a kind of happiness and wonder that makes you serious.
What? No.
Yes!
No.
I love that quote. There's a kind of happiness and wonder that makes you serious. Like there's a serious business of happiness and joy because because when we find our the way in which we find our fulfillment in life is by finding our fulfillment in God.
Okay. But I'm going to say happiness and wonder do not, to me, sound synonymous with seriousness.
Well, you're wrong. Yeah, anyway. So
Okay.
C.S. Lewis had to say that was in a book called The Last Battle. So
Okay.
if you had this. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I like that.
So what scriptures do you have? I've got another scripture that's going to take us down a whole different path.
Oh, wow.
So, but I
Oh,
want
how
to hear
exciting.
what you have to say. Yeah,
Do you like that we don't know what's happening?
I
We
know.
don't know where
So
we're
good.
going, but
So
we're
good,
going
right?
there, and it's
Okay.
going to be great.
All right.
Okay.
What do you got?
Okay, I have I've been reading the Psalms. I'm going to say that
Good.
right now. I've been reading the
So
Psalms.
important.
I
Okay.
love the Psalms.
Okay.
I love it because David is so like, you feel so bad for him. He's trying so hard. He's like, I'm suffering here, God.
Right.
Hello. And
It
then
is
he's
raw.
also, oh my gosh, it's such a heartbreaker.
Right.
And then he's also like, life sucks.
Right.
God, life sucks.
Yep.
This, are you here?
Yep.
What's occurring? And then like he ends it with also being like, and you're God, and you're great.
You can do whatever you want.
And
I'm going to
feel-
trust you.
Yes. Yes.
Love
I
that.
feel, to me, that it's a little formulaic that he's like, I'm struggling, but I am going to say a positive. I'm going to say a gratitude about who
So,
God is
are you
and
saying
his
it's
characteristics.
cliche? He's
no,
being
no.
cliche?
No, I'm saying.
Let's define
no,
what you mean by
I'm
this.
saying that he's acknowledging where he is.
Okay,
But
yes.
then he's saying in a formula of like, how can I feel better? How can I get out of this? What can I do?
Okay.
He's saying, I'm gonna feel better by saying the truth about God,
Okay.
even if I don't feel it right
Yep,
now.
okay.
And saying and glorifying him, giving praise
Yes.
to God.
Okay. Okay.
And in that sense, I think that's what we should do also.
So you're saying formulaic in the positive sense.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make that clear.
Yes.
This is not like some formulaic thing like whatever. He just does this and then this is how he
I'm
ends
saying
it.
it's a good thing even
Yes.
for myself to be like, hey,
Yep.
when I'm just like so
Yep.
just ugh,
100%.
then I can be like, but God is God. But like,
Yeah.
hey, God, I'm ugh right now.
Yeah.
And I like really need you.
But I'm going
Please
to
show
trust
up.
you.
But I know you're God.
Yeah, no,
and I
it's
know
good.
you're awesome.
So good.
And I have joy in knowing that you
Yeah.
have a plan for
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
You know, just that for
100%.
I just feel like that's kind of cool about the
Yep.
Psalms.
You have to force yourself to reframe your mind to go, okay, even though this sucks, I'm going
Yes.
to trust you.
Yeah.
You have to force yourself. And that's what he does.
That's what he does.
Okay,
and I
good.
think he's trying to teach us that
Yes,
through the Psalms,
100%.
in my opinion.
I fully agree with
Okay.
that. Okay.
Psalm 28:7.
Yep,
The
28.
Lord is my strength and my shield. I trust him with all of my heart. He helps me, and my heart is filled with joy.
Yeah.
I burst out in songs of thanksgiving.
That's good.
That to me is so clearly linking joy with gratitude.
Yeah.
Of just being like, I'm going to be filled with joy, and I will burst out in songs
Mm-hmm.
of thanksgiving.
And the reason why that comes is because he's trusting him.
Yes.
When you can't see it, when you don't feel it, when you don't know.
Yes.
Okay, that's hard to do.
I know.
I know.
It really
Okay,
is.
I like that. That's
Okay,
a really great,
I love
good
that.
verse.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, you have lots. These are double-sided, if you can't see that. I thought we had 4 verses and we were going to move on, but
No
no.
cards. I'm
She's
ready.
got them on both sides.
I know.
Okay, hit us with the scripture, Orah. Come on.
Okay.
What else we got?
This one's really interesting.
Okay.
Okay. Luke 15:7.
Okay.
Joy shall be in heaven. Wait, what does it say?
Oh.
Okay, hold on. I couldn't read
Hold
my.
it.
I couldn't
Go
read my
ahead
own
and pull it
handwriting.
up.
I
They
couldn't
don't
read my
care.
whole.
In her hot little hand, she's going to read this. Okay.
Okay. Luke 15:7.
There we go.
Joy shall be in heaven over I. This is the worst writing. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. This,
You know what? That's
listen.
okay. Well, hey.
That was the prep.
Okay,
that was
that's
the worst.
right.
All
How
right,
about
all
this?
right.
You got it?
Okay, let me switch to the next one. This
Yeah.
is Psalms 32.
Yeah, go with that.
It says, what joy for those whose disobedience is forgiven. And then it says, finally, I confess all of my sins to you and stop trying to hide my guilt. And then he feels joy afterwards. I thought that one was really interesting.
There's something about like repentance that brings joy.
Yes.
About being transparent and vulnerable.
Yes.
I think Brene Brown talks about vulnerability,
Yes.
that when we step into vulnerability, something happens in us. And this
Yes.
is what David is saying, centuries ago, that when we do that, we experience joy.
Yes.
So good. Okay.
Okay, this is Luke 15:7
She's-
from the Bible on my phone now.
From the Bible.
Not written on the note card
Okay,
anymore.
good.
In the same way, there is more joy
There
in
we go.
heaven
Yes.
over one lost sinner who repents and returns to God than
Okay.
over 99 others who
Yeah.
are righteous and heaven straight. This is again about repenting,
Yep.
and it's actually bringing Jesus joy or God
Wow.
joy.
So not only brings us joy,
Yes.
it brings him
So
joy.
it's a double joy mixture,
Wow.
a joy sandwich.
There's a
when
theme. A joy sandwich. I love it.
When you repent.
Yes. Maybe that's the title of this podcast. The Joy,
Joy
sandwich.
Sandwich.
I like that. Okay, here we go.
Okay, last one.
Okay, last one. Yep.
Sing a new song of praise to him, play skillfully on the harp, and sing
Yes.
with joy.
Yes.
And I love
What do you
that
say?
because I
Okay.
love the worshiping,
Okay.
bringing joy, whether you're good at it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, it does say play skillfully on the harp. So
Yep.
what does that mean?
Okay.
But you might not play skillfully on the harp,
But, you know.
you can sing with joy.
You can lift up your hands.
Yes.
Or put it in the emoji.
And you're going to bring God joy.
Yes.
If you're asking for the joy of the Lord,
Yes, yes.
let's give him joy, see if we can reciprocate it, make a joy sandwich.
So good.
You know?
What I'm thinking is just like smell triggers us us, music triggers us.
So true.
Right?
Yeah.
So that there's something about music that brings something out of us and puts something in us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, okay, I love that.
I just really like the idea of joy being
Great
a
verses.
flow
Yeah.
and not just a one-sided. It's coming from him and it's one-sided.
Yes.
We bring him joy, he brings us joy.
That's what I'm saying. It's coming in and it's going out.
I love that.
That's so good. Okay, you ready for my verse?
I'm so ready.
I think this verse is going to surprise you.
I'm excited.
I've wanted to preach on this verse for a
Oh,
long
really?
time, and I have not had it.
Is it in the book of Zephaniah?
No, it's not in Zephaniah.
Okay.
I've never heard a message on this.
Ooh, I'm excited.
At all. And
I'm
I think I'm
excited.
going to preach on it because I don't know how many people are going to like stay through the podcast.
Oh,
like
oh
as
boy.
long as we've gone so far.
Okay.
Maybe we've lost people along the way.
No, come back.
Maybe only a few people are still listening with us. And so then I'll be able to share a message and they'll
Round
be like, I've
two.
never heard about that. And that's okay. Hey,
Okay.
for those of you that are still with us, man, we love you guys.
Yes.
Okay. But this is good. I'm getting to some good stuff here.
Okay.
Here we go.
I'll be the judge of that. But
Out of Deuteronomy.
Oh, okay. Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy. I'm so excited
Oh,
about
wow.
this verse.
Hitting
I'm
up the pen
geeking
sheet.
out about
Let's do
this
it.
verse. You ready?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No.
Okay. This is Moses speaking to the people.
Okay.
But God is speaking through him.
Gotcha.
I want to make this clear.
Okay.
Okay. This is what God says to the people through Moses.
Okay.
And they're getting ready to go into the promised land. I've got to set the backstory.
Okay.
They've already spent 40 years wandering in the wilderness. They've, all of the old generation has died out, and Moses is now preaching to them, and he's like giving them the charge to go into the land.
Okay.
And he's talking about blessings and cursings and all of these kind of things. So he says, listen, if you follow God wholeheartedly, I'm gonna bless you from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Right?
Yes.
It's that kind of a thing.
Okay.
And then he says, but if you don't follow God, then all of the curses that I'm going to put on the nations that you're going to conquer are going to actually fall on you.
Oh boy.
Whew!
Don't like that.
Are you ready?
Better follow God.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is what he has to say to the people. He says, listen, if you find yourself in the land, right? The promised land, he says, because you did not serve the Lord your God joyfully and gladly in the time of prosperity, therefore, in hunger, thirst, and nakedness and dire poverty, you will serve the enemies the Lord sends against you.
Oh, wow. What a
Did
slap.
you just hear that?
Wow.
Do I have to say that again?
That was good.
Have you heard that verse before?
I mean, yes, but you should say it again.
She's heard the verse before. Thought I was going to get her on that one. Because you did not serve the Lord your God joyfully and gladly in the time of prosperity, when you had everything going for you and everything was good. Therefore, because you didn't serve me with joy and gladness, when you had lots of stuff, because of that, therefore, in hunger, thirst, nakedness, dire poverty, you're going to serve the enemies of the Lord.
Yeah.
And he will put an iron yoke on you, on your neck, until he has destroyed you.
Yeah. Ouch.
So instead of serving the good Lord who provided everything, they ended up serving their enemies.
Ouch. It's good.
There's something
It's
to
good.
be said about the fact that our kids, your kids, my kids, have probably grown up in a lot of prosperity.
So much prosperity.
More prosperity than I grew up in,
Same.
right? And so somehow we have to train our kids to be grateful.
Yes.
Because they don't know maybe what they came out of.
Totally.
And this is exactly what Moses is saying to the children of Israel that are getting ready to go into the promised land.
Yeah.
And he's saying this, you saw what happened to your parents. You lived in the wilderness. You saw your parents not have faith and trust and confidence. You saw your parents grumble and complain and all of these things, but you don't do that. And then not only that, you don't do that, but pass it on to your kids. Make sure that they serve joyfully and gladly.
Yeah.
There's something about serving the Lord with gladness. There's actually a service part that takes place.
It's really, really
How do we
interesting.
serve?
Yeah.
Serve with joy. So when
Serve with joy.
when you have joy, you're serving God.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, God, I'm grateful to you because you're the one who gives me everything anyway.
Yeah. And you think it's such a natural thing that we all have to fight against, that we're like clinging to God in the valley.
Yeah.
You know, we're just like, oh my gosh, I need so much help. Please be with me, be with me.
Please.
And then when we're feeling great,
Yep.
we're like, oh my gosh, when was the last time I read my Bible? I feel like I
Yeah.
haven't done it in 4 days. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
such a natural tendency that we're all have to fight against all the time.
100%.
It's like just something that's in us we have to fight
Especially
against.
when things go well.
When things are well, you
There's like
you feel like you're
several
fine.
times in the Bible where God withdraws his presence from his people to see how they will respond.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes it's in the good times, the mountaintop experience, the moments of prosperities, God withdraws to see what's really in our hearts.
So you're like, okay, do you still care about me, or you feel like you've got it handled on your own?
Well, that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you think that you're the one that has given you all the wealth?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you really recognize that I'm the one that's given you everything that you have?
Yeah, it's so good.
Woo!
That's
Watch
so
out.
good.
Okay, man. So good.
So good.
Okay.
So
Wow.
Yeah,
I
how
don't
are
know
you-
what else. I don't know what else to say. Just to encourage us that being joyful and glad is a command from God.
yeah,
We're commanded to be joyful. We're commanded to be happy. And so then back to my question. What do we want out of life?
my first thought when you said it was to thrive. That's what I
Ooh.
want out of life, is to thrive.
I think to be joyful in God. I'm kind of coming to that conclusion.
I like that.
Because when I'm joyful in God, I'm content. I'm not anxious. I'm not nervous. I'm not filled with fear, right? All of those
Yeah.
things. And when I'm content in God, then I'm able to walk in the purpose that he has for me.
I really like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's my thought. John
Yeah.
Piper, the book Desiring God, I think it's a worthwhile read for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to ask
What
you a
else got?
question.
Yes,
I have a
go
question
ahead.
for you. What do you do, or what do you think you should start doing to actively practice joy in your life?
Well, I don't want to do that. I just want to talk up here, theoretical. Why would we want to get practical? Okay, so this is a great question. So say it one more time so I
what
can
do
have a
you
process.
do? You might already do something,
Okay.
but what do you do, or what do you want to start doing to start practicing joy in your day-to-day life?
Okay, I'm going to say something that is not spiritual, but
Okay.
it is spiritual.
Okay.
Yesterday, Sunday, after service, okay? And I'm sure you've had this too, so I'm not looking for sympathy, but I'm
Okay.
just saying, like, this happens to everybody. Maybe as a stay-at-home mom, maybe sometimes you feel like, oh man, I said something to my kids and I feel bad, or I did something and it didn't quite meet my expectations, or
Yep.
whatever it is. So sometimes when I preach, I'm like, oh, I didn't quite hit the mark. It wasn't really what I wanted to
I
do.
see,
It didn't
yeah.
quite hit it, and I'm feeling a little bit sad, right?
Yeah.
And so I need to like encourage myself in the Lord, so to speak. This is what David did. He encourages himself. And so yesterday I went on my back deck. And
Yes.
I just sat down, and I had this moment. I don't get this very often, but my kids were away, and my wife was working, and it was all by myself. And I got to just sit on the back deck and just experience nature. I know that sounds
I love
so
it.
cliche.
I love
But
it.
I just sat there and I read and I listened and I just took the moment to like enjoy. Again, this can sound so strange, but just like to enjoy God's presence.
I love it.
Like not to be super spiritual, but like just to enjoy his presence, just sitting there and not doing anything for 2 hours.
2 hours.
I cannot remember the last time that I did that.
I love
And when I
that.
did that for 2 hours, can I tell you that everything that was like on my mind just kind of melted away? 'Cause
Yeah.
I had a really stressful week, and it just like all of that. And I think there's something that God takes pleasure in when I can take pleasure in Him to take the moment and not be frenetic and just relax.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I do.
Yeah, it's the nature.
Right?
It triggers it.
Totally.
I mean, it
does.
makes sense. You're like, he literally created it.
Come on.
So why would that not give
Right.
something to us,
Right.
you know?
Okay, second thing I'll do.
Okay.
And then I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
I like to run.
Yes, you do.
I love to run.
Yep.
And so why I've had a stressful week too is that I injured myself, so I haven't been able to run.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And so since I'm not able to run, then that creates, all other kinds
yeah.
of stuff. But when I'm healthy, I like to run because it gets me outside. It helps me think when I'm not able, to not be in the office and all those kind of things. And that's a healthy thing that brings joy to me.
Yeah, I love that.
Then I can say all the other things, reading scripture and worship. Those things literally do bring me pleasure and joy. But I wanted to think of something kind of different.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
the running and just sitting and being, and I don't think we do enough of that. Especially, I think if you're not retired, if you're younger, if you have kids in the house, I know it's really hard to get away and get alone. I know that.
It really is.
But if you can get up earlier or stay up later,
Yeah.
like, man, and just get that moment, even if it's 10 or 15 minutes all by yourself, to not watch TV, to not do anything else, but just to sit. It's so good.
Yeah.
You don't realize how much your inward self is being built up by just
Yes.
being.
And there's also something that's actually legitimately scientifically calming about being outside with
Yeah.
a wide horizon where your eyes can move back and forth.
Yes.
It actually calms
believe
you
that.
down.
Yeah.
And I just think that that was how God intended it to
I
be.
think so too. Okay,
Yeah.
Orah, so now to you, what are things that you do besides writing your
besides
journal? Because
gratitude.
we've already talked
Yeah.
about that, which is great. What are other things you do?
Yeah, so last year for my word of the year was walk.
Oh, walk.
And
okay.
I had a goal of walking outside every single day, regardless of the weather.
Whoa, winter,
Winter,
snow,
the whole thing,
ice,
rain, whole thing.
cold.
113
cold.
degrees, walk.
What?
Negative 19 degrees, walk. Doesn't matter. Walk outside.
Hold it. Is this year or last
This
year?
was last year.
Last year. Oh my gosh. Okay. I didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
So have we done this?
All 365 days.
What?
I did not miss
Woo!
one day.
Hands emoji going up. I'm gonna emoji you right now. Emoji. Mind blown.
I
I'm
know.
gonna use that
My
every
first
day, every
time
single
ever
day.
doing a resolution to completion.
Wow. Now hold
I know.
it. Okay. I've got so many questions.
Yes.
365 days. Every single day you went
Every
up.
single day.
Okay.
Sometimes twice a day.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, did you have a distance that you had to walk in order to check it off?
No, I really didn't.
Okay.
Very often I do like a 1.4 mile loop around my neighborhood.
Okay.
That was often it, but sometimes we were going on big hikes. I found all
Okay.
these new trails. That was
Okay.
really fun.
Great.
Sometimes I had the stomach bug. Sometimes I was just walking to the end of
Even
my
when
street.
you were sick?
Yes. And I will tell you, I can't believe how much it helped when you're sick. There's so many.
Really?
Yes. There's so many studies. There's things that like hospitals in Europe where they put people in their wheelchairs and take them outside. It's so
I
good
did not
for
know
your
that.
brain. It just
Wow.
makes you feel like you're healthier. It's a whole thing.
You forced yourself when you were sick to get up.
Yes, just shuffle
And
along.
how far? And you maybe went to the edge of your driveway?
No, I went
Oh.
to the end of my street
Wow.
and back, which is
Wow.
not that far, but I mean,
No,
it's a
but
couple blocks.
still-
Yeah,
Even a couple blocks?
Yeah.
Every day.
every single day.
Orah,
I know.
I
loved
oh
it.
my God, I cannot believe
I
that.
know, and let me tell you, I haven't stopped. I started
Really?
last year, still
Are
going.
you gonna do it again this year?
Yep, I'm still going. It's a habit now, so I do it every single day.
Okay, how has it changed you?
It's amazing. I'm going to read this verse.
Okay, good.
Psalms
Okay.
96, 11 through 12. Let's hope I wrote it down correctly. Okay, let the heavens rejoice, let the earth be glad, let the sea resound and all that is in it. Let the fields be jubilant and
Yeah.
everything in them. Let all the trees of the forest sing for joy.
Wow.
And I love that because I just think that the nature is singing the joy of the Lord, and we get to bask in it when we're outside. It does something. It brings you calmness,
So good.
meditative. It makes you feel closer to God with His nature.
It's
It's
almost
unbelievable.
like God created the earth for us.
Yes.
Because He knew that it would bring us joy.
Yes, it's so good for your mental
Okay,
health.
good.
I read another book, shocker.
Okay. Shocking. Here we go. 50.
52 Ways to Walk by Annabelle Streets.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You would think
Yeah,
that
there
her
you go. You
name
got it.
is a joke, but Annabelle Streets. I really am
Streets.
getting
Ah,
a glare,
she's
but you're
the
gonna have to see
street,
it.
the walk.
Yeah.
Ah, I get it. Okay.
Okay, this is almost a coffee table book because it's like 52 weeks in the year, so you could kind of do it that way.
Right. Okay.
So good. I listened to it while I was walking last year. It has.
How do you got the audiobook?
I got the audiobook and then I bought it afterwards because I
Okay.
loved it so much.
All right.
But it talks about so many different ways of walking, things that are so good for you, walking by water, and all
Okay.
these things it does to your brain when you're walking
So good.
outside. And it just encourages you. It makes you feel like God created this amazing place for you, for your pleasure.
Wow.
That even the science behind it is proving that God created this magical, wonderful
I
place
love
for
it.
you to enjoy. So don't sit in your house all day.
Okay.
Get out. Feel the
out.
joy
Come
that
on.
He's giving you with nature.
Is this a Christian book?
It's not.
It's not. That's okay. I mean,
So
it doesn't
it's
have
a
to be.
it's a
No,
science
But it's so
book.
good.
Yeah.
And there's tips. Did you have a tip that you were going to share?
Oh boy,
about it?
I did.
You don't have
I did
to. I mean,
tab
you know,
one,
let's
but
see,
I don't
tab
remember what I
one.
tabbed.
Oh, here we got a quote
Okay,
right
all
here.
right, all
Let's
right.
let's do it.
All
Come on.
right, let's see.
I mean, I love what you're doing.
Oh,
This
okay.
is really
So
great. Okay.
because a lot of the thing we talk about vitamin D, so good.
Yep.
Everybody's low on it. Get outside, vitamin D.
Oh my gosh.
A 2-decade Swedish study of of 30,000 women identified a dramatically higher rate of death among sun avoiders.
Sun avoiders.
Yes.
Okay.
Its author claimed that the lack of sunlight was dangerous to our health, as dangerous as smoking, pleading for a more balanced and adequate view regarding the effects of sun exposure on our health. And to me, that just really was like, get in nature. God designed you to get in nature. Go out. You'll feel better. You'll feel joy. It's going to help your mental health.
Do you know what comes to my mind?
What?
Well, because I have kids that are like this, like all those gamers that are in the basement that don't get out,
Yes.
and or someone that has an office job and they work remote and they're inside all the time. Like they're not getting outside, they're not
Yes.
getting that sun, they're not. It's almost like God designed us to be outside.
I know. It's amazing.
So that we can experience all that we need, the joy, the happiness, all of that that
Yes.
we need. Like there is some connection between the physical and the spiritual.
Yes.
Wow.
I know. It makes you excited to read the
That's
creation story. It's
very
so
interesting from another perspective.
I know.
Wow. Laura, so good.
So good. So get on a walk, make
on.
a gratitude
Yes,
diary.
go for a run.
Try not to complain for 30 days.
That's right. Go on the back of your deck.
Yep.
Or
All these
outside,
things you can
sit.
do.
Yeah, love it.
Yes.
So
a
good.
walk with a friend, so good for you. You can talk about God, you can talk about life.
Yes.
You can not complain, and
So good.
it'll just
and
give
then
you joy.
the last verse I had was delight yourself in the Lord.
Love it.
Mic drop right there. Delight yourself in the Lord.
Love it.
That's what we do, because we know that when we delight ourselves in the Lord, then that's really when we have the purpose, the joy, the happiness, all that stuff.
We're going to thrive.
Yes, we are. Thrive in life. Are we thriving or are we happy?
I know. Which one
It's
are
both.
we?
It's so good. Okay. All right.
Shall we end on our favorite segment?
I think let's do the segment. Have we come up with a name yet? Did you come up with
I forgot
something?
what it was last week.
Congregational concerns, I think, is what
Okay,
you had.
congregational
And I was
concerns.
like, I don't know about congregational
No, but
concerns.
then I had another one.
Oh, did you? You had something else?
Oh boy.
It's not gonna come.
Have you guys come up with one yet? We
I know.
need help.
Help us!
Okay.
Okay.
On this segment of
Okay.
we are going to talk about
It's a question, right?
Yes, it's a
Okay.
question.
It's a question. Love
yes.
this.
What Bible character do you not want to hang out with?
What Bible character do you not want? I'm telling you, there's a lot of Bible characters I would not want to hang out
Right?
with. I mean, so many.
I mean, but
that
let's-
irritate me.
Don't do like Judas and
Okay.
don't do like Goliath. Do
Okay.
like an actual like Christian, you know?
Oh. Okay, can I say this?
I'm excited.
I'm gonna say this. I don't know that I would like to hang out with the Apostle Paul.
That's mine.
Oh, no,
That's
it's not.
mine.
No, it's not. Really?
I can't stand
I'll
him.
come up with another one too.
I can't stand
okay,
him.
why? Why
He,
can't
I
you?
don't think he had any friends also. Doesn't it always seem like he's like having rifts with people?
He's having conflict.
Constantly.
He's a type A personality
Oh,
that's
my
just
goodness.
charging
He seems
ahead,
so annoying.
Right? But you know what? God uses him.
I know. We don't have to
right?
caveat. We don't like him.
They're
We-
pioneers. Pioneers will do things that we types probably will never be able to do.
I'm not going to be friends with Elon Musk, and I'm not going to be
There you go.
BFFs. with
There you go. There you go. Okay, so the Apostle Paul was
Yeah.
one. I had another one, like the Eeyore of the Bible.
Okay.
I think is like Jonah. Right?
really was.
Jonah is just
He's
kinda
a downer.
Down, negative. I just, very
Yep.
self-centered, I think, I mean, even at the end, there's no redemption for Jonah at the end, right? I mean, he's still complaining about some kind of, plant that gets killed. I'm like, wow, yeah, that's tough.
He needed a gratitude diary.
He needed 52 ways to walk. That's what he needed. Okay.
I like that. Jonah's a good choice.
Okay, good. What else we got? What else you got?
Oh, you want another one?
Yeah, I want another one from you.
okay.
Come on,
Okay.
let's go.
Why
Think about
did
it.
God make bugs?
Oh, no,
Spiders?
I wanted another one from you.
Oh, okay. We'll ignore that question.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that next time. No, I'm like, who else do you not want to hang out
Oh,
with?
there's so many, honestly.
Give me
there's
one-
a lot.
give me one or two. What do
But,
you got?
okay, let me think of another one. Hang
Okay.
on.
She's got it.
Simon.
Simon.
Yeah.
Peter?
Yep, for sure.
Really? Wow.
Yep, he seems like he'd be annoying.
Oh. Always wanting to be at the top, at the front.
Yep.
Always pushing his way.
Totally.
Yeah.
He seems like he highly valued
You'd
himself.
like to hang out with John, wouldn't you?
I think I would.
Uh-huh. I think
I like
John
it.
is more your speed.
Totally,
For sure. Okay.
totally.
I like that.
What if we could pick people where you're like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
I totally want to be
You
like
know who
this.
I would also like to hang out? We didn't
Who?
talk about this. Who would I? But Barnabas seems like a guy that. I mean, see,
Oh.
when Paul and Barnabas had their rift,
Yeah.
and he took his nephew because he was feeling bad. I mean, it's like he's called the son of encouragement.
Like him.
Right?
Yeah, I like that. I like that too.
That'd be
He
good.
seems like a cool guy.
There you go. Straight from my mouth. My thought.
I
don't know
like
what-
it.
I don't know
I
what I
like
was
it.
trying to say there, but yeah.
Guys, thanks
Okay.
for joining us on
Thank
this
you, guys.
podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you
Yes.
always know when a new one comes out.
And at podcast@crosspointschurch.com, please send us your questions, comments, concerns, thoughts,
Yes.
whatever. Podcast.
I don't have access to it, so
At
really,
crosspointschurch.com.
you can say whatever you want, and
It's okay.
it doesn't matter.
And I may or may not share it with Orah,
I
depending
know.
on what you say. So. All right.
All right, bye.
Thanks for joining us.